Hey everybody, Chris here. So here's a Steinway A that we're going to replace the soundboard, and it's actually kind of a shame because it's such a nice sounding board, but the longevity's kind of gone. It's kind of flattened out a little bit, and it's flattened out so much that perhaps the previous rebuilder, just to get some kind of down bearing, had to cut those dowels down, and so the plate supports were really buried into the spruce. So that's just because of the loss of the crown. So we're going to be taking this out, pulling these pins out, and they come out so easy. I can even pull two out at a time. Yeah, not even straining at all. This is just coming out so easy. See that? We just pulled two out there. Alright, so I just popped the soundboard out of the Steinway A, and it only took 6 hits with the 2x4. So it wasn't in there very good. Soundboard on the scale, hanging up in the air. My wire there. And this one weighs 21.3 pounds. And I know this model really well. This one weighed 19.6 pounds, so about a 2-pound difference. And you know, you can almost see it with the ribs are thicker and taller than this one that weighs 2 pounds less. Plus, this one here has a lot of metal screws, and I'm sure that adds to the weight of it as well. Just screws following the whole bridge. So that's one reason why to use dowels. They're lighter than the metal screws. So this soundboard, though, I've worked on them in the past, and actually these piano soundboards can be taken down to 17. Look at all those screws that were in the soundboard. It's a lot of weight. Buttons aren't even glued. First time I've seen this on a Steinway. Nose boat hole cover. What did you call it? Cover, trim, molding. Then the thing about this board, since it only took a few hits to pop it out, which is rare, it didn't really get damaged. It all stayed together and pretty good shape. Alright, so I just measured the widths, and I'm measuring the heights. The widths I measure like this. That. And those I usually just use this, put it above, tighten that down. And then I use the micrometer like this. And that's 1 inch tall. Alright, so here's the original rib scale on a graph. Here's the height to width comparison. Here's the moment section modulus comparison. And the length to stress comparison. And here I plug in the numbers. The height to width, that's a little too high for me, being in 90s. And the rib stress, that is too low. I actually like the ribs to be stressed a little more. So, good indicator that there is just too much wood. Notice how each of these curves are really rough. There's just no smoothness there, except for the moment, which is representative of the length curve. And here's the length curve. So the stress doesn't stay even like the length curve does, which means that the dimensions are improperly chosen. So let me show you the modified one. Alright, so here's the modified, and we'll go to the numbers first. The numbers, I've changed the dimensions so that now the height to width percent is 80, and the rib stress is also 80. So I lowered the height and I increased the stress, the average stress on each rib. So here's the curves. Here's the height to width curve. Got that as smooth as I could. The moment section modulus curve. Got that perfect. And the length to stress curve. Now, what interesting thing about this length to stress curve is that for the most part, ribs right here kind of follow and sync with each other. But then right here, there's kind of a separation, a flare. And I consider that to be good. So what's happening is the stiffness is staying pretty good with the length of the ribs. And then the base section here, these are getting more flexible. There's more flexibility being involved. If this was coming down, it'd be getting stiffer and stiffer as well. But this right here is just using the length to add more flexibility. So I consider that a perfectly chosen dimensions for the lengths. Alright, I got all the new ribs made. Length, height, width, all dimensioned. Alright, and I got the bridge. New bridge caps. This is a harder wood than maple. This is Osage. Great stuff. I'm working on the bridge cap for the base. Put Osage on there. And then I've got a new thing I'm doing. And I'm putting some Osage laminate. Get like about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 laminations of Osage. And the grain goes in different directions. And that'll help the secure the single pins in the base section. Here's the top rib. As you can see, the height little comes off the height, and the width is pretty close to being the same. But that height, that's a lot of extra wood that doesn't need to be there. Alright, so now I've got all the rib stock cut. I've got the bridges with all the new bridge caps on it. And so next is the panel. So the panel is in the press. And after the glue dries, then we'll be cutting it to shape. Got the panel made for the Steinway A, all sanded and graded. And weighs 11 pounds. And it's going to be going in the oven. Here's the soundboard press for gluing the ribs.